I am just warning you right now that the lighting will be really inconsistent in this video because it is really cloudy, but now it's sunny. So the lighting will be very inconsistent throughout this video, but I hope that's not a problem. So, hi, I'm Rita. Welcome back to my booktube channel, Life Worth Reading. Today I'll be doing the Can't Say I Didn't Try book tag. This tag was created by the bumbling blogger, so I'm gonna leave their link down below in their original video. And I was tagged by the amazing Jayla over at La Loves Lit, so thank you so much, Jayla, for tagging me in this. And let's just diss some books and some authors, shall we? So this tag is starting off with a banger already because the first question is a book that you should have DNF'd. I have two books for this question, and the first one is definitely The Power by Naomi Alderman. I should have DNF'd this. I really should have. I should have listened to myself and I should have DNF'd this because it was so boring. It was so slow paced. But this was a gift, and so I didn't... Okay, it's not like forcing myself to read, but like I wanted to finish it, but I shouldn't have. Does that make sense? Like I wanted to finish it, but I shouldn't have because the ending was not worth it. So yeah, this book kind of sucked ass. I kind of regret reading it all the way through, and I don't really recommend it. And the second book is for sure the Starlesse by Erin Morgenstern, because this book is chunky, okay? Like this book is big. And I read this all the way through, even though it took me like almost 2 months to read this because I was just so underwhelmed and it was just so difficult to get through because not the writing was like hard to read. It was just like the story just wasn't there, in my opinion. Like I got to the end like after 2 months reading this book and I had no idea what the hell had happened. I had no idea what the plot of this book, you know. So I should have DNF'd this, but I bought this with my own money. Like I bought this beautiful physical copy and I just wanted to make it worth it, but I don't think that it was. I'm just realizing that the lighting is probably really terrible right now that the sun has decided to appear. Is this bad? Like, does this look bad? The second question is the most books that you've read in a series without actually finishing the series. And for this, the only one that came to mind was Harry Potter, because I started reading Harry Potter when I was like maybe 12 or 13, and I read the first 2 books or maybe like the first 3 books, but I didn't actually like continue the series. And then in like 2017, when I got back into reading a lot, I picked up the Harry Potter series again, and I read all the way through the 5th book in like 2018, and then I just stopped. So I still haven't read the last 2 books. And full transparency, even though we already know that there's no support for J.K. Rowling at all, but I will eventually read the last 2 books because I already own them. Like my brother bought them as they were coming out like moons ago, and so I already have them, and eventually, like full transparency, I will read them. But right now, I think that's the most books I've ever read in a series without finishing, because I don't read a lot of long series, or I don't start a lot of long series. So that was the only one that came to mind. The third question is a hyped author you just don't get along with. And I have a lot of answers for this one, so I'm just gonna start. V.E. Schwab, I love her ideas, but I don't like her executions. Erin Morgenstern, clearly the Starlesse just really wasn't for me. J. Kristoff, because Nevernight was really weird and fucked up, and I really didn't get along with his writing at all. And Holly Black, the Cruel Prince trilogy, like the Folk of the Air trilogy, like wasn't it for me. I didn't like her writing. I thought it was very not good and polished, so I really didn't like her writing there. And I feel like for like a more classically hyped author, Haruki Murakami, because I read Sputnik My Love and I really enjoyed it, but then I bought and read Norwegian Wood, and oh my god, I hated that book so bad. I hated how he explored certain themes, especially like mental health wise. It really rubbed me the wrong way, and I still haven't read a book of his since. So I'll probably eventually in my lifetime I'll read something else by this author, but for right now, Haruki Murakami is an author that I just don't really get along with. The fourth question is a genre you rarely read from, and I've mentioned this a billion fucking times, but sci-fi. I don't read sci-fi. I am trying to get a little bit into it, but it's a genre that just doesn't work for me. I feel so stupid when I try to read it, so that's one. Oh, and I guess I will say that I don't read a lot of high dense fantasy series. So like think Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I'm not really there yet. Like really long, dense, eye of the world type of stuff, I just don't read yet. So if there's like a distinction between that and normal, little bit less dense fantasy, then I definitely just don't read a lot of high fantasy. The fifth question is the most elusive book. So a book or an edition of a book that you can't get your hands on. For this one, I'm gonna mention one book that has been my dream, but I could never get it, and I know that. But it is a fairy lit edition of These Violent Delights by Chloe Kong. I am in love with that book. I'm not usually a very like pink person, but that book is just so beautiful. The pink sprayed edges, the gold and pink details on the cover. Like I'm gonna insert a picture, and I am in love with that book. And Fairy Loot, if you watch this video, give that book to me. Like gift me this book, because if I could splurge and get one book, that would be the one. Like that's the most beautiful edition of a book that I've seen, and the original one is already so great, but there's just something about that Fairy Loot one that just speaks to my soul, and I would give the world to have that book. So the sixth question is a book or an author that keeps getting recommended to you that you know you won't enjoy. I'm going to speak generally here because I don't have a lot of personal recommendations. Like not a lot of people come up to me and say you should read this book, and I just kind of ignore it because I know I'm not going to like it. But generally speaking, what is actively recommended in the booktube community, I would definitely say like Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare, because like I just have a feeling that I wouldn't enjoy that. And I know that her writing has evolved a lot since then, so I really can't judge on what it is. I mean, I can't even judge what it was then. But I just feel like I wouldn't enjoy the Mortal Instruments. Like I feel that. And so I don't feel like I'm missing out at all. But other than that, I'm very open to like I don't know, I'm very open to recommendations, and I love trying things. So even if I don't like it, I don't just actively ignore recommendations. So I don't have another answer for this, honestly. The seventh question is a book that has a better cover in a different language. And I don't pay attention to covers in different languages, so I really don't know what to tell you. Like, I really don't know how to answer this question, but I will mention something that has been reported in the Portuguese Bookstagram community. So I really just wanted to speak up on that because I learned about it from a few Instagram posts from a few bookish people in Bookstagram. Sorry, there's a truck going by. And I'm going to leave all of their links down below, links to a few Instagram posts so you can learn more about this topic. But I just wanted to do my part in, you know, speaking about this. And it is that there's new Portuguese covers that are coming out that are erasing POC and LGBTQ plus rep on the covers. So I'm going to insert some examples right here. But there's this book that has POC characters in the cover. And when the Portuguese publishing houses did their own design of the book, they erased that element. And then there's this other book that has an LGBTQ plus couple on the cover that was erased as well from the Portuguese cover. And so I just wanted to do my part in saying that I am not proud of this. Like, this is not something that you should actively do, because like cover representation is so important. And I feel like it's totally okay for people to change up the design and change some things in different languages, but it's not okay to actually erase the elements that make a story like own voices and what it is. And so I just wanted to do my little part in speaking up about this, but I'm gonna leave all of the rest of the Instagram links down below so you can check it out for yourself. The eighth question is a book that you've only ever seen the movie or TV show adaptation of. And I feel like for the longest time, The Hunger Games, because I only read The Hunger Games in 2020, but I had already seen the first and second movie. And also Percy Jackson, because I saw the movie when it first came out, and I know a lot of people don't like that movie, but I liked it, okay? I was 10, Logan Lerman is in it. It just had to happen. But I just read Percy Jackson in January, and I really enjoyed it, so I completely understand why people didn't love that movie. But right now, I mean, the only like weird one that comes to mind is Shutter Island, like for some random reason, because I've seen the movie and I know that it's based off a book, but I have no interest in reading the book, and I don't see myself ever reading the book. So that's one. And I feel like there's so many, like I've probably seen so many movies that are adapted from a book and I just don't know it. But yeah, nothing else is coming to mind, so I guess that Shutter Island will be my answer. The ninth question is a book that you wouldn't watch if it got adapted into a TV show or a movie. And this is also like a really random one because it will never get adapted. But The Song of Achilles by Milan Miller, because I absolutely adore that book. But I think that what makes it so special is the writing of Madeline Miller. And so I really I don't see a world where it would ever get adapted, but if it was, I don't feel like it would translate well onto the screen because the most important part of the book is her writing, and so I feel like it would just fall flat if there was an adaptation. And also in Ember in the Ashes, like I would love to see a very comprehensive, like long ass TV show about the Ember in the Ashes quartet, but if it wasn't like the most high production and the most faithful adaptation of the books, then it just wouldn't be worth it and it would suck. And I know that. So I feel like if they just randomly decided to adapt an Ember in the Ashes, I feel like they would either have to go like 200% into it or it just wouldn't be good. And like I wouldn't watch it. So those are two that probably would not translate very well onto the screen if there wasn't like a big effort on that behalf. The 10th question is a series that shouldn't have been continued, and the only one that comes to mind right now is PLL, like the PLL series by Sarah Shepard, because there are a lot of books. And like, don't even get me started on TV show because I was fully obsessed with Pretty Little Liars, like deep into the Tumblr theories, like taking notes, scheming, doing the most for that TV show because I was obsessed. But it just went on too long, and after the fourth season, it just went downhill so fast. So for sure that series that shouldn't have been continued, and probably the books as well, because I mean, why are there so many books? Like she could have said a lot more in just less books, you know what I mean? Like she could have done the whole mystery in less books, but she just went the extra mile to put as many as she could out, and I feel like she shouldn't have. And I've heard a lot of people mentioning recently that they don't like that the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas is being continued because the Court of Silver Flame has just come out. And I know that like probably like half of the like fan community like really wants it to be continued, but I feel like a few people are just like, nah, it's like a cash grab now. It's not worth it to continue on the series. And maybe when I read ACOTAR, I'll feel the same way. But right now, there's just one that comes to mind because it's being talked about a lot recently, but I still haven't read it, so I really don't know what to think of it. And the last question is a trope that puts you off from reading a book. There are not a lot of tropes that like 100% put me off reading a book. I wouldn't say that ever happens. But if somebody tells me that, for example, like if the main character of a certain book is a I'm not like other girls character, then it's over for me right there and then, because I am so tired of the I'm not like other girls kind of thing that it just doesn't work for me anymore. And also, if somebody tells me that there's a bad love triangle, I won't read it, because when there's actually like good love triangles where both sides are very compelling, then I am definitely into it. I am. But if somebody tells me that there's a bad love triangle that's not compelling at all and it's really obvious who she's going to end up with, I'm not going to read it, because I don't like lame love triangles. I don't like forced love triangles. I like a good, dramatic, compelling love triangle. Why am I so heated about this? I have no idea why I just got into this like little rant about love triangles, but just give me good ones, okay? Just give me good ones. Okay, so that was the Can't Say I Didn't Try book tag. Thank you so much again, JLo, for tagging me in this. And for my own tags, I'm going to tag Summer over at Book Times, Alex from Alex's Library, and Danny Marie over at Danny Marie Reads. And listen, if any of you watch this video and you don't want to do this tag, that's perfectly okay. That's perfectly okay. I just wanted to mention their channels because I love every single one of them. And also, if I didn't tag you and you watch this and you still kind of want to do this, do it. So completely free will here. Do whatever your heart tells you, you know? As always, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content, and I'll see you in my next video. I hope you have a nice day, and always remember that life is worth reading.